Let me ask you something. When was the last time you did something, not because you wanted to, but because you thought someone else would notice? Maybe you wore a certain outfit. Maybe you posted something online. Maybe you stayed quiet when you actually wanted to speak. And if you're being honest, you weren't doing it for yourself. You were doing it to impress someone. And the crazy part is, we all do this. We are all guilty of this. We live in a world where everything feels like a performance. You scroll on your phone and see people winning. Better bodies, better lives, better everything. And slowly, without even realizing it, you start to change yourself. You start thinking, maybe I should act like that. Maybe I should look like that. Maybe I should be more like them. And now you're not even living your life anymore. You're living a version of yourself that you think people will approve of. That's the trap, because the moment you start trying to impress everyone, you slowly lose who you actually are. Now let's bring it closer, because this isn't just about people, this is about you. You don't wake up and say, yeah, today I'm going to fake who I am. It doesn't work like that. It starts small. You laugh at a joke you didn't find funny, you agree with something you don't believe in, you pretend to know something just so you don't look dumb. And every time you do that, you're making a trade. You're trading your authentic self for approval. And why? Because deep down, you're scared. Not scared of failure, not even scared of being alone. You're scared of being judged. You're scared of that one moment where someone looks at you and thinks, yeah, they're not that impressive. So you try to control that. You build this version of yourself that looks confident, cool, put together. But inside, you're constantly thinking, did I say the right thing? Did that sound stupid? Do they think I'm weird? And now you're stuck in your own head, performing, not living. And here's the part that nobody tells you. The more you try to impress people, the less they actually have respect for you. Because people can feel it. They can feel when you're trying too hard. They can feel when something is forced. And even if they don't say it, they stop taking you seriously. Let's go even deeper, because this doesn't just affect how people see you, it affects how you see yourself. Think about it. If you're constantly changing yourself for others, then what version of you is actually real? At some point, you don't even know. You start overthinking everything. Every conversation becomes a test. Every interaction becomes a performance. And it's exhausting. You come home and instead of feeling relaxed, you're replaying moments in your head. Why did I say that? I should have said this instead. I sounded stupid. And it never stops, because you're trying to meet a standard that doesn't even exist. You're trying to impress people who aren't even thinking about you that deeply. Let that sink in. The same people you're trying to impress are too busy worrying about how they look. Everyone is performing. No one is watching as closely as you think. But you're burning energy, you're wasting time trying to win approval that disappears in seconds. That's the cost. You lose confidence, you lose clarity, and worst of all, you lose yourself. There's a moment that changes everything, and it's not loud, it's not dramatic, it's quiet. It's the moment you realize nobody actually cares as much as you thought. Not in a bad way, in a freeing way. You realize that the pressure you've been feeling was never really coming from other people. It was coming from you. You were the one overthinking. You were the one trying to be perfect. You were the one chasing approval. And once you see that, everything shifts. You stop trying to say the perfect thing. You stop trying to act cool. You stop trying to impress. And something weird happens. You start feeling lighter, more relaxed, more real. You start speaking without overthinking every word. You start doing things because you want to, not because it looks good. And for the first time in a long time, you feel like yourself again. Now here's the part nobody expects. When you stop trying to impress people, you actually become more impressive. Not because you're trying to be, but because you're real. You're authentic. You walk differently, not in a fake confident way, but in a calm, grounded way. You talk differently. You don't rush to fill silence. You don't try to prove yourself. You're just there. And people notice that, because real confidence isn't loud. It doesn't need validation. It doesn't need approval. It just exists. And suddenly, the same people you were trying to impress start to respect you more. Not because you changed for them, but because you stopped changing for them. You decided to be yourself. So what do you do with this? Because it sounds good, but actually applying it is different. Here's the truth. You don't just wake up and stop caring. But you can start small. Next time you're about to say something just to impress someone, pause. Ask yourself, would I still say this if no one cared? If the answer is no, don't say it. Next time you're about to post something, ask yourself, am I doing this for me or for validation? Be honest, and slowly you start shifting. You start making choices based on what you actually want. Not what looks good, not what gets attention, just what feels real. And at first it might feel uncomfortable because you're not used to it. You're used to performing, but over time, that discomfort turns into confidence, real confidence. That kind that doesn't disappear when someone doesn't like you. Let me tell you something most people don't realize until it's too late. Who you are is not built in front of people. It's built when no one is watching. Not when you're posting, not when you're talking, not when you're trying to look a certain way. It's built in the quiet moments. When you're alone in your room, when you choose what to do with your time, when there's no one to impress, that's the real test. Because it's easy to look disciplined in front of people. It's easy to act confident when eyes are on you. But who are you when it's just you? Do you still do the things you said you would? Do you still chase your goals? Or do you only move when someone might notice? Be honest, because a lot of people, they don't actually want success, they want the image of success. They want to look productive. They want to look confident. They want to look like they have their life together. But when no one's watching, they stop, and that's the difference. When you stop trying to impress people, you shift your focus from looking good to actually becoming good. You stop asking, how do I make this look impressive? And you start asking, how do I actually get better? And those are two completely different lives. One is built on perception, the other is built on reality. And perception fades fast. People forget what you posted, people forget what you said, people move on. But reality, that stays. The skills you build, the habits you create, the discipline you develop, that's what actually changes your life. So instead of asking, will this impress people? Start asking, would I still do this if no one ever saw it? Because the answer is yes. That's where your real identity is being built. And that's the version of you that doesn't need to impress anyone. Let me leave you with this. You don't need to impress anyone, not your friends, not strangers, not people online, because the moment you stop trying to impress everyone is the moment you finally start living your own life. And yeah, some people might not like the real you, but those people, they were never meant to stay anyways. The right people, the ones who actually matter, they don't need you to perform. They don't need you to prove anything. They just need you to be real. So stop trying to impress and start being yourself, because that version of you, that's the one that actually wins. If you made it this far, that means something in this video connected with you. And if you're on this journey too, make sure you subscribe. I'll see you in the next one.